Born Wesley Cook on April 24, 1954 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Mumia Abu-Jamal, at the age of 14, was beaten by white racists and police officers for attempting to disrupt a rally for George Wallace, who was running for president on a racist platform. By age 15, Jamal was the Minister of Information for the Philadelphia chapter of the Black Panther Party. Jamal was responsible for writing information and news communications. Mumia dropped out of high school and between 1969 and 1970 worked in New York and Oakland with the Black Panther Party, during which time he became under surveillance from the FBI's COINTELPRO program, which the Philadelphia Police Department cooperated and continued on him till 1974. Upon returning to Philadelphia, Mumia obtained his GED. He also has a Bachelor's of Arts from Goddard College and a Master's of Arts from Cal State Dominguez Hills. By 1974, Mumia was a radio newscaster and had hosted a weekly featured program at WCAU-FM by 1978. Before joining MOVE, a black liberation group, Mumia reported on the trial of the MOVE 9. Mumia went on to be elected president of the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists. Despite that fact, Mumia still needed to supplement his income as a taxi driver. Because Jamal was pressured by WHYY to resign over a dispute about objective reporting. Mumia won a major Armstrong National First Place News Award for his coverage of police brutality in the black community, which also earned him the nickname, the Voice of the Voiceless. In the early morning hours of December 9, 1981, Officer Daniel Faulkner stopped the driver of a light blue Volkswagen at the corner of 13th and Locust Streets for driving the wrong way down a one-way street. Officer Faulkner had the driver exit the vehicle. As the officer was speaking with the driver struck him in the face. Officer Faulkner struck the driver back and attempted to take him into custody. As the officer was attempting to subdue the driver's brother, Mumia Abu-Jamal, came running to the scene from a parking lot across the street. While Officer Faulkner's back was turned, Mumia opened fire, shooting him in the back 4 times. Officer Faulkner fell to the ground but was able to return fire, hitting the suspect. The wounded suspect was able to fire again, and he stood over the fallen officer, shooting him in the face. When backup officers arrived, they found Officer Faulkner mortally wounded and the suspect, murder weapon in hand, laying several feet away. The suspect attempted to flee but fell to the ground several feet from where he had just shot the officer. On the night of December 9th, 1981, I was with my partner, Kenneth Poppy Freeman, my friend from childhood. I left my gun locked up at my stand that night, but Poppy always carried his gun. It was a .38. That night, he was wearing his green army jacket. We were headed along Locust. At Locust and about Juniper, I saw flashing lights of a police car. He followed me for about half a block, and I pulled over behind another car in the first empty spot on the south side of Locust. I had wooden bumpers on my car, and they were supposed to be metal. I had been stopped for that, but he never said anything about that or gave me any reason to have stopped me. I never hit him. I got out my car. Poppy stayed in the car in the passenger seat. I let him, the cop, know I was not happy. After that, we went back and forth, verbal confrontation. He pulls out a stick or some kind of object and slaps me in the head 3 times. By that time, he had me on the side of the car. I started bleeding profusely, so I go back to my car to get my paperwork. After that, I got in the car. I was in the front seat, looking in the back seat. When I got in my car, Faulkner was in the front of the car by the hood where he had stopped and frisked me. When I was in the car looking in the back, I heard gunshots and I saw sparks, but I didn't see him shot. I saw flashes of a gun out the side of my eye. He was standing in the front of the car. When I was looking in the back seat, Poppy was still there, and then I looked and Poppy's door was open and he was gone. When I first saw my brother, he was running. He was feet away from me. We hadn't made any plans to meet that night or anything like that, and I didn't even realize that he came around that area to pick up fares. He had nothing in his hands. I heard a shot and I saw him stumble. I didn't see who shot him. He was stumbling forward. Later, Poppy talked about a plan to kill Faulkner. He told me that he was armed on that night and participated in the shooting. He was connected and he knew all kinds of people.